Hello everybody, I'm Hoardergamer and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. I hope you're doing well. We've got comic books tonight, we've got some toys, we're going to toy around a bit later. We're going to talk a little bit about video gaming, but not too much. We're also going to cover, I believe it's called Night Terrors, the new DC event, and how crazy and all-encompassing it is starting in July. Hey Mike, how you doing? We're going to begin, though, with a comic book review of Superman number 3. And this is David Nakayama cover. He goes by the letters DNA right there, DNA. Yeah, it's really cool. Superman looking at Lex, who's in prison. And that's been a big story arc since issue 1. Basically, Lex is like, Superman, you can have LexCorp, but now it's called SuperCorp, and do with it as you will. Doom, good to see you, Doom. And he's like, do with it as you will. Okay? Well, also this story arc involves Parasite. And Rudy, you know, like the main Parasite that everyone really mostly knows from the comics and the cartoon and everything. Basically, there's now thousands, like hundreds of thousands, if not more, of parasites all over Metropolis. And insanely enough, this book opens up with Superman being part parasite, but able to hold it together just enough to go to Lex and be like, we have to figure a way out of this. So it's crazy because like he thinks that one of his enemies is after him and he crashes through the prison, but no, it's Superman with part of Parasite in him. So they team up with Livewire, who creates an insane amount of energy to make a trap to bring all the parasites there, and Rudy can absorb and eat. They even tell you not to think about it too much when Mercy asks about it, and eat all the parasite pieces to bring himself back together. And at the end, the villains, or so we think they're villains of the story, also enemies of Lex. So definitely think about that part of it. They're enemies of Lex Luthor. They are the ones basically running experiments, and they did the whole thing involving Parasite. But if they're enemies of Lex, that doesn't mean they're necessarily evil. I think this is going to be very interesting. There might be a reason they did that. I don't know yet. But Joshua Williamson has done a really good arc for The Flash for a number of years. And now he's doing Superman, and it's been great. These first 3 issues have been really good. And Action Comics and Superman, and even the current John Kent book. I apologize, the name escapes me. Those are all really good Superman books. In fact, I'll be talking about one of them a little bit later. But yeah, very cool. A lot of surprises. If you like the character Parasite, I highly recommend this issue. Or actually, these 3 issues. It's really a good run so far. Okay, everybody, that was our first review. Now we're going to talk just real briefly about video games. I'm not going to say all too much, you know, and I got to tell you, I really hope that Lilith doesn't show up again, you know, because sometimes she kind of freaks me out when she shows up and I'm not expecting. There she is. Lilith, the mother of Sanctuary, is gracing us with her presence. All hail Lilith. Right, everybody? Right? All hail Lilith. Indeed. Indeed. And all hail Blizzard when they team up with Riker to tell us all about the endgame of Diablo 4 in great detail. It's supposed to be around 90 minutes. And there's going to be a big announcement at the end of it, apparently. So that's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. That's at 11 a.m. PST. Pacific Standard Time. So for me, that's going to be 1 p.m. Central. 1 p.m. Central. But yeah, that should be amazing. And anyone who's excited about Diablo 4, I think we should be really excited about this. I expect to see elements of the end game we don't even know about. And there's already quite a bit. There's like 5 or 6 different elements, you know. I'm really looking forward to it. So that's going to be really cool. Also, brief Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League news coming out February of 2024. So it was thought that the game was going to come out, you know, some point maybe later this year, and they needed time to polish. Now, from everything I've been reading and understanding, there's a whole mess of different reasons for this. The polish is a big part of it. There's also talk that everyone freaked out about the always online part, and apparently that wasn't as simple as just taking out a line of code. So that's apparently part of it. Also, some people are saying they're going to stockpile a whole mess of like missions and events and things like that. So there's a ton of content when the game does finally launch. And now, even more to the point, it probably is going to be the biggest part of it is polish, like I first said, because a lot of people forget this. Arkham Knight was meant to come out October of 2014, and about 2 to 3 months before it came out, it was announced that now the game is coming out. Actually, I don't know if they had a date for it, but they pushed it back at that point. The big thing is it came out then in June of 2015. So from October 2014 to June of 2015, Rocksteady has a history of pushing games back. And if you played that on console, Arkham Knight was great. So I'm really not worried about what's going on with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing it, that's for sure. And I think it would be really a huge mistake if they don't end up doing like a closed and open beta. You know, the whole beta thing now, that they actually have time, you know. I mean, they thought the game was initially going to come out, and we all did too, like May 26th. Now, if your game's coming out like in February, I think it's February 4th. I think there's an actual real date. But like for sure, it's supposed to be February now of 2024. So, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. Who are you calling a beta? A video game beta. Not calling any person a beta. Or if we were in London, I'd say a beta. A beta. Let's see what other game news. May 2nd is going to be Redfall. I'm looking forward to that, even though it's 30 FPS on Series X. But yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I look forward to running around and shooting vampires with friends. That should be a good time. Of course, next Friday, and I'll talk about this more next Wednesday, of course, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I loved Jedi Fallen Order. I thought it was very good. And all indications are that this could be better than that. So that's really meaningful. I'm looking forward to using a blaster and a lightsaber, because that's actually one of the 5 stances you have. They did say, though, that you don't need to use all 5 stances. That's kind of like something that like they expect like the super hardcore players to do, that the average player will probably use 2 or 3 different stances throughout the game. So, but yeah, I mean, there's really not a ton of video game news. You know, those kind of the big stuff right now. But I'm sure because of tomorrow and the Diablo endgame event, we'll have something to talk about next Wednesday with that too. The craziest rumor I've heard is that they're gonna announce open beta for endgame, which would be very cool. There was a closed beta for Endgame. It was right around, I want to say, December or something like that. I did not get in. Uh, but yeah, they did a closed one then, like around December. So it's a possibility. That'd be a really neat announcement. I don't know exactly. I mean, the game comes out, right, like June 2nd for early access. June 1st, depending on where you live exactly. So I don't know exactly how much time they have to be like, it's like the, mid-May or something. I don't know. And I'm not sure how many changes they could do with the limited amount of time they have now. They actually announced a lot of really cool changes after the Diablo 4 open beta, that they actually had enough time to make a lot of really cool changes, especially to make the druid more meaningful and a better character to play as. They nerfed the necromancer, but the necromancer was crazy powerful, so I get where they're coming from. But yeah, a lot of really cool changes and decisions. Even some that upset people, like people were like farming the same dungeon over and over and over, and apparently now it won't give the rewards after a certain period of time or something. I don't know exactly how that works. I'm not sure. It might be as simple as just disconnecting and then reconnecting, but if you're playing with a group of people, that could be frustrating. And I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the game and the ton of content, that the game offers. It's going to be, 35, 40 hours is the average playthrough. So for me, it'll probably be 60 or 80. And that's just the main campaign. We're not talking about Endgame. So I'm very excited. And that's only with one character, too. So, okay. Now, that is actually the end of our video game conversation. Next up, we're going to toy around a little bit. We're going to look at a few toys. What we have right now, right here. Go, go, Power Rangers, you mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Here we go, everybody. And I had two pictures. I don't know where the other one is. I feel bad about that right now, and there's not much I can do about it as the show is on. But the Red Ranger, the Green Ranger, the Pink Ranger, and yes, part of the Black Ranger right there. These are all very cool figures. They are not inexpensive, though. They're $33.99, and they come with a ton of accessories, like the energy waves right there. They have their morphers that they can hold on. They have alternate heads, helmet and non-helmet, and the likeness on the Black Ranger is excellent. And I do apologize, I don't have the secondary. Hold on, let me see here for sure. No, that's something else. That's something we'll talk about next. Sorry about that. But yeah, these are all really good looking figures. And I was happy because they're from like the series I was into. I wasn't really big on all the series of Power Rangers, but like the first one, and I think even like maybe it was the second one that these characters extended to. There's also an excellent Rita Repulsa figure available with two fantastic facial sculpts. You've got to see it. You've got to see it if you're a fan of the show. People are upset about the dress, but I mean, I think it's plastic rendered, so I don't know exactly what they could have done. Her cowl looks amazing. Like that crazy, like pointed cowl thing she has around her neck. It looks really good. And then, like the hat or helmet, whatever you want to call that, with the horns. It's a really nice looking action figure. Okay, but yeah, these are $33.99. And let me remove this picture. Everybody, take a look at this insanity. If you played Marvel's Avengers, say hello to the Super Adaptoid. This is the comic book version of the Super Adaptoid. And this is, as you can see, a 12-inch figure. He goes on sale tomorrow, $4.20, on I believe it's a fan channel exclusive. It might be Pulse exclusive, but I'm pretty sure it's fan channel, meaning like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. And if you order at Entertainment Earth, you can, it actually supports me, so I appreciate it. Thank you. But I think it looks really good. There's not a price yet, but if I would guess, I would say 60. Let me tell you where I get that pricing from. The 6-inch figures right now are between $24.99 and right around 30, depending on like the accessories that come with. So being he's pretty big and, you know, he's got his shield and all that, my guess is 60. I don't have an exact price. I don't think the price will be available until he goes on sale tomorrow. So, but there he is, everybody. The super freaking Adaptoid. Okay, let me remove him. This is awesome. All of you Gambit devotees, look at this. Look at this complete insanity. Now, the price is not inexpensive, but for what you get, I think it makes sense. This is also a 12-inch figure, and look at the alternate heads. Comes with 4 heads, including one where he's clearly Mystique. Look at that. Okay? And then you've got like the cards with the energy, all the different hands and the cards in his hands. It is $215 on the Mondo website. It's a Mondo exclusive, I believe. Actually, I think it's a Mondo exclusive. I think they might do a version that other fan channel sellers have, but I'm pretty sure this is the Mondo exclusive. $215, and you have, I believe it's like a few days or a week in order to order him. So what's nice about this, though, is you're given that window of time. It's not like everyone's going to jump online and in 10 minutes he's going to be sold out, you know, or in an hour he's going to be sold out. You actually have a chance to get him. And they did this with Wolverine. They did this with Magneto. Magneto was awesome, by the way. That was a really cool looking figure. Jubilee and trying to think. They did a whole mess of really cool 12-inch, highly detailed Marvel X-Men figures. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's awesome. I really love all those accessories. And finally, one of the best looking Transformers I've seen in years, the Legacy Edition. Okay? So like this is like the best looking version of Armada Prime. And unfortunately, there's a ton of pictures of him, including his huge gigantic version where it combines the truck or the cab and everything all together. But there's just not enough room for me to have that many pictures. So I figured I'd show everybody a really nice looking Optimus Prime from Armada. So there he is right there. He's going to retail at around $89.99. And I know that sounds expensive. There is a ton that comes with this, though. The cab is huge. And when you put him all together, he's massive. He's what's called I believe it's a leader class. No, it's not even... It's something above that. It's not Titan, which I think is like a gigantic one, but it's very large, and the price makes sense if you see everything he comes with. But it's weird because the price is fluctuating by like $10 at certain sellers, so don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I like him a lot, and that's Armada Prime. I believe he comes out in September. I believe it's a September release for him. And I'm going to send him back to Cybertron. Even though I'm not sure if Armada Prime was ever on Cybertron, to be honest with you. So, we are done toying around right now, everybody. Don't worry, we'll toy around again next week. See, now I actually put myself against the wall there. Because, like, what if there are no, new toy pieces of information next week? What if there's no new release info? I'll just have to make up something. We'll have, like, the Hoarder Flex toys or something. Okay, everybody. Now, before we do our last comic book review, which I can say what it is. I mean, that's fine. Spider-Man number 24. Amazing. Amazing Spider-Man number 24. We're going to talk about the future. Okay? We're going to look into the near future all the way to 1 week from today. And without the reverb generator, that sounds very much like a David Lynch impersonation. Even more so than with the reverb generator. I've realized that. I've realized that. So, everything comes to a head with Mr. Sinister in Sins of Sinister Dominion. He's created quite a few sins, including replacing everyone on the Quiet Council, and well, that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what he's been up to. But this has been really good, and I highly recommend checking out Sins of Sinister. Also, because it's not terribly massive. It's like, what, three-issue comics, and I want to say it's a beginning and an ending. I think Dominion is the end of it. If not, there's a final, like maybe Sins of Sinister Omega or something. Because Alpha, I believe, was the first one. But it's a really good series, and technically, I think the big pieces of it could be understood by the larger one-shots that come out, like the first one and this one, and then there's possibly another. So within 3 books, you might be able to, fully get the full story. But yeah, Sins of Sinister Dominion. It's been one of my favorite Marvel events recently, actually. Next up, we got the Unstoppable Doom Patrol. By the way, I love this cover. I think this is an awesome cover. This is one of the variants, so it's on that thicker paper, almost like a thin cardboard. The first issue was great, and I'm someone who, insanely enough, has really never read Doom Patrol. I know that sounds insane, especially with the pedigree of writers that have done it. But I really wanted to jump in and check this out and see what I thought of it, and issue 1 was really good. It was very funny the way they treated Batman and their opinion of Batman. Even though I love Batman, I can enjoy when someone takes the starch out of Batman. I can enjoy that. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, and apparently they're going to be betrayed. They're going to be betrayed by one of their own, apparently, and we don't know who that is yet. They set that up with the first issue, so something is coming, and it should be interesting. But yeah, Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 2. And it's early on, so if you want to check it out, getting issue 1 should be pretty easy, and, issue 2 is just next week, so... makes that pretty simple. Now, the fight I've been waiting for months is finally about to happen. Superman versus Metallo. There we go. And this writer is going to be taking over... trying to think what book... He's taking on a DC book, a really good one. I apologize, I can't remember. I'm sorry. But Philip Kennedy Johnson, excellent writer, has done awesome work with Action Comics. It is one of the best Superman books in a long time, and it's impressive. And I thought this was a really enigmatic and cool cover, right? He's like punching through Metallo. I was like, that's pretty badass. So... fists up, Superman versus Metallo. And if you are a Star Trek fan, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. Massive. By not reading Star Trek currently. It is an excellent book. It's some of the best storytelling in Star Trek in years. I'm very impressed with it. Look at the cast. Look who you have in this book, just on that cover right there. But yeah, it's great. And as a Star Trek fan, I will be shocked if you read this series and don't like it. The first trade should be out soon too, because apparently the second arc was considered, right, I think when issue 6 came out. So this being issue 7, this is actually the second issue of the second arc. And it's leading into something, as you see, countdown to the Day of Blood, which I believe is going to be a Star Trek event, a Star Trek comic book event. But yeah, very good book. Really awesome concepts and ideas. Great callbacks. I think that Star Trek fans would enjoy this. I think just honestly sci-fi fans that aren't even that much into Star Trek would get a kick out of this book. Okay, let me remove this here. Like, I think even like hardcore Star Wars fans that aren't really into Star Trek would dig what they're doing with that Star Trek book. Okay, everybody. Now we are towards the end of our show, and we have our final review. Amazing Spider-Man number 24. So, in an alternate reality, or alternate future, I don't want to spoil too much. There was this character in Spider-Man comics, very, very minor, who was obsessed with numbers and like probability and stuff. And he basically found information about a religious cult type of thing, and he used that to make himself a god. His name is Rabin. Anyway, Peter was able to escape and, you know, basically try to find a way to take him out. But in the ensuing time that he was gone, a lot happened to Mary Jane, and we'll get to that shortly. So he teams up with Norman Osborn to create a suit that lets him go through time and space to stop Rabin. Okay, and that's a great moment right there. But hold up, the first like 6 pages of the book are awesome. It's the Fantastic Four just going about a normal day, you know, in the at their tower, and all of a sudden there's an alarm. Wait, someone broke in. What's going on? And it's Peter. Peter's there for some sort of fusion reactor, and he knew that Reed would have an issue with him using this really powerful device and not, you know, really wanting to give it to Peter. So Peter's like, that's why I did this, Reed. And then he like uses webbing and webs his face so he can get away. And he's being chased by the Thing and the rest of the Fantastic Four. It's really great. There's a moment where Human Torch thinks he accidentally killed Peter, because he flames on and takes out like part of a massive window, and then Peter's just gone. And Reed is like, do you see a flaming corpse anywhere? Peter's fine. It was very amusing. It was very amusing. I very much enjoy Zeb Wells' take on Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man run he's doing. And so, when he escaped, he thought he'd be coming back maybe like a few minutes or so from the time he left. It was years. And in this future, this alternate reality where Mary Jane is now, she has kids. So all the pieces are starting to make sense as to what's been going on in the book. It's been really good. Now, what's wild is this is issue 24. Issue 25 is a huge deal because apparently Zeb Wells is going to do something that is going to anger most of the Spider-Man fans. So much that I believe it was his editor told him, you may not want to attend any of the comic book conventions for Marvel this year. So, yeah, pretty interesting. So we want to have long to wait, though. Amazing Spider-Man comes out roughly every 2 weeks. So it's like twice a month. So not next week, but the week after should be issue 25. And even though I usually don't do back-to-back issues, I think I might have broken that rule for Superman because it was the introduction of a new character last issue. And I'll break that rule again this time, too. Maybe it won't even be a rule anymore. I don't know. I would just feel bad if, like, because I love Batman, right? That every month I'm just doing, the new issue of Batman. I don't want this show to be that. But I think that Amazing Spider-Man 25 will be pretty memorable, and I think I should do that one. Okay, everybody. Any suggestions? Any ideas of things you want me to cover on future episodes? Like, any suggestions now I probably wouldn't be able to get to by next week's episode, maybe. I guess it depends if it's like there's not a lot of news coming out, Couple things I can say. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hoardergamer. And currently I'm doing a lot of Diablo 2 Resurrected because I'm very excited for Diablo 4 after playing the open beta. I'd almost use the term fiending. I'm almost fiending. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do Dead Island 2. I know for certain I will be doing Star Wars Jedi Survivor next week when that comes out. So that'll definitely do. Also, I'm a proud member of Doom Squad Gaming, and I thank Doomkiller HD for again letting me borrow the channel. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also, the weekly wrap-up of Doom Squad Gaming, I believe, is going to be on Sunday. I believe I got that date right. I want to say it's Sunday. But there's going to be a lot of cool things covered, including some of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. But everybody, thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. And whether you're watching this live or at your leisure, at whatever time, again, thank you. So, with that, that's the end of another episode of Hoarder's Comic Flex. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.